ABC Listen. Podcasts, radio, news, music and more.
Is that a headbutt?
Oh, he does. He headbutts Hudson Young. Here we go. Let's listen in.
I'm going to bin them both.
You can't bin Hudson Young for that.
He retaliates to a headbutt.
And take all your players that way. Just take them away from
And it's going to be 12 on 12.
One word, chaos. That is how we are defining the most insane game of rugby league that has upended the NRL finals picture. On the Brisbane side, this was the great escape. Reece Walsh returning from the sin bin to engineer an astonishing victory before somehow escaping suspension for a headbutt. For Canberra, it was an agonising defeat that has the Raiders needing to embrace the long route to glory. There is a lot to unpack. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily. Brett Sprigg calls NRL for the ABC and was in Canberra Sunday for this bonkers game of finals footy. Spriggy, how would you describe what you saw in the nation's capital on Sunday?
It was everything that finals atmosphere should be, Stacky. In a parochial one-team town, there was 25,500 there, one of their biggest ever rugby league crowds.
And now, well, it's the calm before the Viking storm, because Josh Hodgson will sound the horn, the crowd will clap in unison. This is what's so special about Canberra home games, particularly here in a final.
This is the best. Listen to this.
And it just built towards what was a phenomenal 94 minutes of football. And it had everything as far as the home crowd being involved, because Canberra had the better of things in the first half for the most part, and indeed scored the first two tries of the second half.
He goes to the line and the ball comes free. He almost had Hetherington. Oh, Weeks is up! Look at him explode away! Weeks to the 30. They're not going to catch him. He's got 100 metres. What a sight!
But then a lot of things just unfolded throughout that, well, I'll say second 40, and then the remaining 14 minutes in which both teams had chances to win it. And it was just a phenomenal day's footy. Great conditions, two top four teams, high quality football, and just all of these narratives unfolding throughout the game and indeed in the postscript, which of course is why we're here.
Reece Walsh was the eye of a chaotic storm. His brain explosion headbutt threatened to destroy Brisbane, only to return from the sin bin and inspire them. I mean, can you remember a player, Spriggy, who can be so dramatically volatile in terms of good versus bad?
They call it rocks and diamonds, and a lot of fullbacks probably have that quality about them. Reece Walsh is absolutely phenomenal on his day, and he did inspire them, but he had to, fight back from spending 10 minutes in the bin. There was that situation with Hudson Young where, of course, Hudson Young got in his face.
You've run in there and got in his face, right, which makes him react right. No, you do not do that, because you take it all out of our hands, right? There's been no issues, right? But you're going to go to the bin for 10 minutes.
They were both sin bins, so we were 12 on 12. The Broncos lose Carrian as well, so it's 12 on 11 at one stage, and just a phenomenal stage of the game. I think the Broncos obviously responded so well after that. The Raiders did make mistakes at key times in that period. I talk about Civilio Tamale knocking the ball on from the kickoff and then the Raiders having to defend for sort of 5 straight minutes. But back to Reece Walsh. He is the centre of that storm. He gets marched for 10. He's flipping the bird to the Canberra faithful. They're throwing beer cans towards the tunnel. It was really, really volatile. We use that word, Stacky.
He came into your face there, but you have to control your actions. You're in the bin as well.
10 for Reece Walsh, 10 for Hudson Young. It's 18-12 Raiders, and it's 12 on 12 Luke Lewis.
And then he, of course, comes back and does the very best Reece Walsh things and inspires the Broncos to that win. But that doesn't tell half of the story. But again, Reece Walsh, having had this strange couple of weeks with off-field behaviour and social media, he's a pop culture phenomenon himself. But as a football player, he did all the right things late in that game yesterday.
Canberra coach Ricky Stewart was unhappy the fullback was not sent off.
It doesn't matter what I think about it.
Were you surprised he wasn't sent off?
Well, they've sort of precedent now, you're allowed to headbutt.
He hasn't been suspended either, Reece Walsh, only fined over the incident. He has had his share of drama, as you sort of talk about this year already, whether it's the sort of toilet, water drinking incident and what have you. Do you feel like he kind of gets latitude, whether it's that incident or yesterday's one, where others maybe don't?
Well, I think genuinely there wasn't enough impact in that action to warrant A, send-off, or B, a further suspension or a suspension. So I understand Ricky Stewart's issue there because, of course, if Reece Walsh gets sent off and takes no further part, none of that stuff happens. And the game's a very different outcome we're talking about, possibly, with a Canberra win. But as to whether Reece Walsh is... I saw the conspiracy theories from Raiders diehards saying, well, of course, the NRL want the Broncos in the comp and in the grand final, and, of course, Reece Walsh is the guy. But I think that incident alone, as much as I think Hudson Young is unlucky to have been also involved and been sin-binned, Reece Walsh... that was a fair outcome for mine. A sin bin and nothing further. Of course, the issue is a little different, though, for their captain, Patrick Carrian.
As much as Walsh drew them to the ultimate victory, it was Ben Hunt who got them over the line.
Smoothie finds Hunt, winds it up, 25 out on its way, and he has got it! Shaves off the right hand, the Broughton goes in! The Broncos have stolen it!
You can't really tell his career story without the pain of the 2015 grand final era, I think, and that's kind of unfair to take that context into this moment, but it kind of informs it. Was there a sense of him having a finals moment, 10 years down the line?
I did a retrospective with Lachlan Coote, who was the Cowboys fullback in 2015. Of course, we spoke about key moments of that amazing grand final, and that key moment was indeed in Golden Point, Ben Hunt dropping the kickoff, and then the Cowboys win with Jonathan Thurston's field goal. And so, yes, that has followed Ben Hunt throughout his career, sure. And that was his first stint at the Broncos, of course. He went and played for the Dragons and almost retired from the game altogether last year, Stacky, but went on to play 350 games. I think it was his 352nd game yesterday, and then has that extraordinary moment. So, yeah, there was a sense of finals redemption for Ben Hunt.
10 years on from his grand final. Heartbreakers put the Broncos into a preliminary final with a 40-metre field goal.
He's a veteran halfback. Of course, he's playing in the number 7 because Adam Reynolds is not. They're dealing with injuries, the Brisbane Broncos. They have no Selwyn Cobbo, Ezra Mam. Adam Reynolds may come back at some point in this finals campaign, but Ben Hunt stepping up to playing halfback. He's obviously a veteran, a leader, and that moment was his. Corey Pakes finds him, 35 out, nails the field goal. It was just extraordinary, considering that, of course, to that point, the Raiders had 2 opportunities to win the game, and in fact thought they had.
Hosking, now Fogarty, he's going to spin away and win it for the Raiders! The crowd have erupted! Canberra have won one of the greatest games ever!
As I say, there are 4 or 5 or 6 big moments throughout that 94 minutes of football that did end with that Ben Hunt field goal.
As you touch on, Pat Carrigan did not escape suspension or sanction where Walsh did. The standing captain will be missing for the preliminary final unless the club challenges the high shot ban and then risks losing him for the rest of the season. If he is missing, just how big is that for the Brisbane Broncos outfit?
Yeah, he's obviously an Origin quality player, an international quality player, Patrick Carrigan, and I imagine for that reason, Stacky, they wouldn't risk the 2-match ban, which of course rubs him out for the grand final should they make it. So they may just cop their medicine with the 1-match ban. I do wonder about one thing in this process, and that's we've now seen in recent times this sort of informal process around downgrading these charges on the run. Nicho Hynes was charged for a hip drop tackle a couple of weeks ago on Marcelo Montoya because of Montoya's injury. It came back that the injury wasn't as bad as first thought, and so it's like, well, okay, now it's going to be downgraded before we even go to the judiciary. So I don't know if there's something like that for Patrick Carrigan and the Broncos to possibly challenge before that formal process. Morgan Smithies, his victim, did play out the game, so there wasn't like a concussion or anything like that, at least as far as we know, on the spot yesterday.
He went backwards, Carrigan, but he's come in, he's hit him with the shoulder. This is trouble.
This could be, with Reece Walsh still in the bid, it's 12 on 12, but Paddy Carrigan will be spoken to here in some capacity by Ash Klein.
Okay, you're
rushed up out of line.
Ashley
Been
Klein.
direct contact with the head.
Reece
On report
Carrian.
in the bid for 10.
With 10.
They'll consider all options, but I think ultimately you can't run the risk of losing your lock and captain for the grand final.
Gee, the Raiders side of things is so painful. To lead by 16 points at home in front of a raucous fan base and lose this game, such a blow. And the number one seed, now they've got to go the long way round if they want to chase glory. Is this the sort of defeat that could unravel a team like Canberra, or is it the sort of thing that might help them, I don't know, galvanise?
As I say, they have the body of work over 27 rounds, Stacky, as the most consistent team, the minor premiership winning team, that you shouldn't really doubt them. I guess the one doubt I do have is less about the turnaround, which is, of course, a 6-day break into Saturday night against Cronulla Sutherland, again on their home deck at Canberra Stadium. The issue is just that extra football, 94 minutes of just bone-jarring, rib-rattling finals footy. I did say at the time in commentary, well, the team that's going to love watching this is the Sharks, because they'll face the loser, which of course we now know is Canberra. They had their moments. We thought it was theirs at the end with Jamal Fogarty scoring the try. Of course, it was called back for a Jed Stewart knock-on.
The ball goes forward into the Broncos. The first knock-on will be Canberra. We have a decision.
Wow.
Yeah, he gets it right
So
there.
the winning try for Fogarty disallowed, and it will remain at 28 points all.
Ricky Stewart will say that, they have to sort of piece it together now. And as I say, I'm less concerned about the 6-day break. I think the fact they're just staying in their own beds, they're staying home all week, that'll be okay. But they will be sore after yesterday's game and have to, I guess, overcome mentally the idea of then going on to a prelim on the road as well against Melbourne. So if they can make it through. So that's the other tough task. And they can't think too far ahead, but it's a sporting cliche, a tired cliche, Pat, but it's one day at a time now for the Raiders, who thought they had the whole thing won there at the end.
They thought they had it won a number of times over. They were so close, the Raiders. Agony for them, but they do live to fight at least one more day. Brett Sprigg, you've called the action in Canberra. You've done such a good job there that you've actually missed your flight back, so you're only just limping into Sydney now. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Anytime.
Headlines. Sam Kerr has spent 20 months out, so she recovered from a torn ACL. That's a long time, and we wondered how she might go on a return. Well, she came off the bench for Chelsea against West Ham, and we got our answer.
Oh, it's cleared off the line, and then Roebuck on the punch. Cuthbert's in there. Kerr's in there!
Nature is healing, and so is Kerr. She spoke to the club's in-house media team afterwards.
Yeah, it feels good. Obviously really happy, but just a lot of relief. It's been a bit of a long journey, so I'm glad it's just over.
It's good to have her back. They say the 100-metre finals determine the fastest men and women on the planet. Both went down at the World Champs in Tokyo, and in the men's it was a Jamaican 1-2, with Oblique Seville claiming the honours in 9.77 seconds.
Away clean, Lyles just behind Thompson, but Narek a slow start. Seville got a good start. Thompson's in a winning position. Seville goes up to him. The two Jamaicans, it's the young guy. Seville over the top of Thompson and Lyles. We've got a new king.
American Melissa Jefferson Wooden ran the fastest women's world champs time ever with 10.61. At the other end of the distance spectrum, I've got to tell you about the men's marathon, where Alphonse Simbu won Tanzania's first ever gold medal at the event, pipping Amanal Petros of Germany on the line. 0.03 seconds. That was the gap between gold and silver. From an Aussie point of view, Jess Hull is into the 1,500-metre final after a dramatic semi. Sadly, Lyndon Hall just missed out on the other side of the draw. In the AFL, head office has confirmed what Ben Cameron and ABC AFL Daily told us in April. State of Origin returns 2026. Valentine's Day, with Victoria to play Western Australia at Perth Stadium. Meanwhile, from a finals perspective, Brisbane Lions, the reigning premiers, they're heading to Melbourne to take on Collingwood Saturday evening, while the Cats host Hawthorn in an enormous rivalry prelim Friday night. Tennis, where Australia's fallen just short of a dramatic Davis Cup comeback, losing its tie with Belgium in Sydney 3-2. The Aussies trailed 2-0 before fighting back. It came down to Alexander Vukic v Rafael Collignon, and it was the Belgian who endured.
Rafael Collignon caps what must surely be the best weekend of his professional career.
That came after his shock Day 1 singles win over Alex de Minaur. Great win for the Belgian on Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily, produced by Poppy Penny. Thanks to Channel 9, Chelsea FC, SBS, and the Davis Cup for the extra audio used in this episode.
Discover more great ABC podcasts, live radio and exclusives on the ABC Listen app.